Good morning, everybody. We are live. Welcome to our webinar today, Thriving Under Pressure, Navigating Stress with Mastery. April is actually Stress Awareness Month, so we're super excited to have today's presentation bring in some great strategies for you folks today. My name is Lindsay Davies. I am one of our entrepreneurial growth team members here at ATB, and I'm super excited to be hosting today's webinar for you. I'm based out of Calgary, and I'm super curious to know where you folks are situated. So please pop a comment in the chat and let me know whereabouts in the province or perhaps beyond that you're joining us from today. And if you want to include some details about your small business, I would love to hear that as well. So look forward to hearing from you. I'm already seeing the comments come in. We got Edmonton, we got some folks from Calgary. So that's awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today. We actually have a special group of folks watching this session in Edmonton with our entrepreneur ecosystem strategist, Cliff. So hi, everybody. A special welcome to you all, and thank you so much for making the trip down to the Edmonton Entrepreneur Center today. The weather here in Calgary and across the province is finally starting to get warmer, which means I know a lot of us are starting to look forward to our summer holidays. And one thing that myself and my family have really started to do during our summer holidays in recent years is to try and explore more of the Indigenous-owned tourism businesses that surround us. And try to take in some of the many rich experiences to help us continue to learn more about the original and present day caretakers of our land. So if you want to do the same in your own truth and reconciliation journey, I really encourage you to check out the link we're going to pop in the chat from Indigenous Tourism Alberta. Lots of great resources there on how you can indigenize your summer experience and really, get the most out of your holidays and do some great learning along the way. For myself and for those joining in Alberta, I'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we are all present is the traditional territory of the Treaties 6, 7, and 8 nations of Alberta. I'd also like to acknowledge Treaties 4 and 10. I acknowledge that the ancestral territory of the Cree, the Dene, the Blackfoot, the Stoney Nakoda, the Saulteaux, the Ojibwe, the Tsuut'ina, and the 8 Métis settlements, and the homeland of the Métis people. I acknowledge the land today as an act of reconciliation that honors the authentic history of Turtle Island and the original people of this territory. And I look forward to continuing to deepen my connection to my land acknowledgement and to the original caretakers of this land throughout my summer experiences and beyond. So it's now my pleasure to introduce you to today's speaker and topic. Ana Maria Ortega is a highly accomplished professional with a wealth of experience in business strategy, consulting, and coaching. Since 2016, she has thrived as the driving force behind Eagle Business Coaching as a leadership, business, workplace, and career coach, with a particular passion for supporting the growth of minority entrepreneurs and internationally trained professionals across the Americas. Ana Maria is deeply committed to entrepreneurs and women's mental health. In today's webinar, Ana Maria will help us understand the types and levels of stress, how to recognize common signs, and exploring the sources that entrepreneurs like yourselves, I'm sure, frequently encounter. She'll offer practical strategies for managing stress, achieving work-life balance, and preventing burnout. Before I pass things over to you, Ana Maria, a quick note for our audience. We love questions, we love interaction. So if you have any questions or anything throughout the webinar, please throw them in the chat and we'll address as many as we can when we get to the end of today's show. And then following today's presentation, you will receive a follow-up email with information on how you can access the recording, as well as any follow-up resources and material. So without further ado, I'd like to pass it over to Ana Maria. Ana Maria, thank you so much for hopping on with us today and for sharing your knowledge and your passion. Over to you.
My pleasure, Lindsay. Thank you so much. And thank you, ATB, for the generous introduction and for the opportunity to share this important topic here. And to all our participants, bravo. Seriously, I applaud your strategic mindset that open a space in your busy agendas. I know you have busy agendas because I am also an entrepreneur, to attend this webinar and prioritize your own mental health. Well done, guys. I've met just a handful of you already, but I like you and admire you so, so much for your bravery and brightness to be here today. So let's start with the presentation. I would like to let you know why ATV chose me and chose Eagle Business Coaching for this presentation. So at Eagle, we intertwine the most three critical elements of any business: people, purpose, and profits, creating a dynamic where each fits into and also strengthens the other. Thus, by guiding you into the acquisition of the exceptional talent, we connect people to purpose, equipping your team to propel your vision forward. Then we bridge purpose to profits, ensuring the efficient processes and systems we implement not only to bolster productivity, but also to amplify your bottom line. Finally, we create a conduit from people to profits by nurturing a culture of proactive contribution and authentic collaboration. This culture of engagement not only drives performance, but also reinforces the impact of your organization that your organization has in the community. Central to our model, you see mental health and well-being, forming the core of an organizational culture that values human capital as much as financial gain. Through our coaching programs, we create enduring connections that promise both sustainability and tangible impact, always with an emphasis on the well-being of you, the business owner, and your team. That's the most important for us. Our holistic approach is designed to ensure that as your business reaches new peaks of success, you as well and your personal life flourish in equal measure. So at this point, let's understand, what do you know about success? About the stress, I'm sorry. So please tell me, what do you know? How do you feel stressed? What do you know about this matter? How have you been experiencing stress? Or maybe you don't experience the stress at all. You can use the chat to participate in this question. Yeah, stress makes me feel sick sometimes. That's true. And we are going to see some of the conditions that are stress triggered in our body and also in our businesses later on. Anybody else? Get things done. Fantastic, Lindsay. You're talking about good stress, and we are going to talk about that one as well, because we have different categories and different levels of stress. Demotivated. Sean, thank you for that, and for coming vulnerable, being so brave that you embrace that vulnerability and say, I am demotivated when I'm stressed out. And that's so true. That's one of the first signs of stress. Who else? What else do you experience when you see these pictures, for example? Any other feelings? For example, in my case, sometimes I'm afraid of making decisions. I'm afraid of moving on. As an entrepreneur, that's a huge risk, being afraid. Worry for the future. Exactly. Detracts from tasks needed to do so. Yes, it will hold you back, right? You need to do some stuff, but you're so stressed that you're procrastinating and you are just putting them aside, right? And you want to continue with the things that stress you out, but not necessarily the more urgent or the more important things in your business. Yes, good stress could make you productive. That's true. And sometimes super overwhelmed. Yes, and shut down. That's totally true. That's totally true. We just try to protect ourselves. That's a natural reaction from us, and we will see. So remember that we had this survey where we share our experience with the stress at the moment of registration for this webinar. So let's see what the people in this room think about it. 80%, okay, let's get some stats and into the matter, right? 80% of us have been running a business for more than 3 years. 20% have been running a business for less than 1 year. And these statistics and this presentation is just to inspire you guys, not to scare you about entrepreneurship. They are actually meant to be inspiring. 60% of you guys are feeling stressed several times a week. That's a lot. What are the top 5 stressors in the room? Financial pressures, uncertainty about the future, you mentioned them in the chat, workload, lack of work-life balance. I want you to pay attention to this particular one because we're going to say it repeatedly and we are going to see some shocking statistics on why we need to take care of this balance. Staffing issues also shows up. The top 5 stress symptoms: fatigue, sleep disturbances, headaches, muscle tension or pain, and upset stomach. Are you feeling related to the symptoms? Most common stress management practices. So we see that most people will be managing the stress through exercise and hobbies, leisure activities, but we can also see a minority, I would see a lower number of people that is practicing meditation and mindfulness, right? Time in nature. We live in Canada, come on, and we live in beautiful Alberta. We have lakes and we have mountains, we have forests, and we have a fauna that is, unparalleled in the world. We should be in contact with nature more frequent that we are locked down in our offices or in our business. We also have a huge percentage of 23 that are not managing stress. Guys, this webinar is going to be an eye-opener, hopefully, for you because you are risking your health. And finally, this tiny one that I wanted to highlight because this one goes very in hand with lack of work-life balance. That is time with family and friends. Now we jump into the next one. The most common challenges for life-work balance, precisely. So we have a huge one, and this one I'm also part of this. Guilt for taking time off. In the chat, who has experienced this? Guilt for taking Friday off. Guilt for taking Tuesday off because I need to take my children to doctor appointments and I need to run some errands. But yes, I know that I can do it because I'm the boss, I'm the business owner, but at the same time, I'm feeling that uncertainty here, that emptiness here that doesn't allow me to enjoy my day off. Not to mention, if I'm taking a day off just to go to the mountains or just to have some leisure time for myself. Then we see boundaries between work and personal life. Again, that balance. I don't know how to set those boundaries. I'm working, but yeah, I need to get this done, and it's already 10 p.m. Later on, next time we check the clock, it's going to be midnight. Next time, 1 a.m., and I'm finally going to bed, but I need to wake up at 5 because I'm opening the business at 6. See, we are getting it all here. Delegating responsibilities, that's a huge one. And I would say this is one of the toughest responsibilities as a leader. We need to delegate. We cannot allow our teams to grow if we don't delegate. Delegation comes through trust, safety, and empowerment. I trust you to do this task in a safe and efficient way. And I'm empowering you through the right systems, process, and tools, right? So you can perform this activity. This activity, if I remove it from my plate, I will be able to do more, to enjoy more, and to become a better leader for my business, a better leader for you. Therefore, this is something we need to learn. And finally, effective time management. This wasn't new for me because time management usually takes a lot of, I would say, a huge percentage on this type of service. In this case, it was the lowest. And we are assigning a huge weight on delegating responsibilities. So probably we need to think of that. How is my leadership, how can I improve it? How can I raise it to the point that I am able to delegate strategic tasks that will allow me to do strategic work in my own space, right? So now let's see some mental health facts in Canada. In 2023, the Canadian Mental Health Association reported an average of 12 suicides per day. 12 people are taking their own lives per day in Canada, totaling approximately 4,500 annually. This is a lot of people. A lot of people. Sorry. Men's suicide rate is 3 times higher than women's in Canada, often due to financial stress, isolation, broken relationships, and mental disorders and addictions. Among Canadian youth and young adults, that means between 15 to 34 years old, suicide ranks as the second leading cause of death. Isn't this sad? Our youngest generations, they are taking their own lives because they don't see hope, because we are not connecting with them. We have a huge responsibility in this, and you're going to see some statistics about market and entrepreneurship that will probably shock you for a good reason, right? Canadians over the age of 45 often face challenges in seeking professional mental health support, unlike their younger counterparts. So we need to give that to millennials and Generation Z. These are people between 15 to 43, 42 years old. They ask for help. If they are not feeling okay, they prefer to go to a professional. They prefer to ask for support. Whereas generations X and boomers, we prefer to, just deal with it in our own way. It will pass. It will also pass. Around 4.2% of Canadians have considered suicide at some point, with noticeable increases in immigrant populations. And finally, approximately 3.1% of Canadians have attempted suicide at least once in their lifetime. There might be someone in our very close circle that is asking for help. Maybe not with words, but with their body language, with their actions, with their decisions. Let's pay attention. Let's become more empathetic. Let's listen empathetically to them. And probably we will realize that, okay, all this person needs is become more visible, become more valuable, and more noticeable for everyone around that person. And after that, this person will be open to ask for support. Now, let's check on some mental health stats for entrepreneurs in Canada. So mental health challenges among Canadian entrepreneurs rose to 45% in 2023. That means a 7% increase from the previous year. That is good, but at the same time, it's concerning because issues are increasing faster than the reaction of entrepreneurs towards mental health. Entrepreneurial mental health support has grown, with 31% seeking help in 2023, up from 21% in 2022. The overall Canadian rates for mood and anxiety disorders have escalated over the last decade. Entrepreneurs under 45 are twice as likely to seek mental health support compared to those over 45, which is very coherent to what we mentioned already about generations, right? Cost is the primary hurdle for entrepreneurs in accessing mental health services, along with service uncertainty and limited awareness. Remember that we live in a multicultural tapestry here in Canada. And when we say multicultural, some cultures, they have a huge paradigm about mental health. And we need to break that down. We need to be able to connect with them at the level that they open up, right? And talk about mental health. And inflation is a significant stressor for 44% of entrepreneurs. And here is a huge one that goes hand in hand with the one that I told you. Please pay special attention to this one. 48% are concerned about achieving work-life balance. 48% of entrepreneurs are concerned about their work-life balance. However, in the survey for the people registered for the seminar, that wasn't too important. And maybe only the 2% of them are spending time with their families and with their friends. So here are some interesting stats as well. Top right, we can see the distribution, basically categories of business based on their size. So we have micro businesses from 1 to 5 employees, small businesses 6 to 100. Micro businesses are usually considered for national statistics within the small businesses. So we're going to say that the small businesses are 1 to 100 employees. And finally, medium-sized businesses are between 101 employees to 500. So 98% of Canadian companies are small businesses nowadays. As of March 2024, 98% of Canadian businesses are small businesses. Aren't you proud of it? You are part of the statistics. So now let's go top left. As of March 2024, we already reached 41 million people in Canada. Out of those 40 million people, 20.4 are in the workforce as of February 2024. So it's half of the country is working. That means people from 15 years old up to 65 or even older. They are part of the workforce. Now, jump again into the entrepreneurial market. 3.53 million entrepreneurs in Canada. Isn't that amazing? It's a huge number. And 58% of them consider life-work balance necessary to succeed in business. Hey guys, this is a call out. We need to pay attention to this. Are we reaching that life-work balance? Are we making a living, or are we also making a life with our businesses? In 2022, these 3.5 million entrepreneurs were employing 14 million employees. That's over 60% of the workforce. 63% of the workforce comes from small businesses in Canada. From these 14 million people, over 50% of them belong to the millennials and Gen Z generation. So they are young people. They are people between the year 15 and 42, 44 years old. For them, mostly making life-work balance is a priority. So 50% of our workforce, they want to have a life-work balance. That is why for them, it is not too important to keep a job for 1, 2, 3 years. It is important for them to be able to manage their social life, their professional life, their personal life, their financial life. They try to keep all the balls in the air. Over 60% of the workforce being that young, probably older generations, we need to pay attention to that, because based on of course, generalizations, Gen Xers and baby boomers, we are ranking top for productivity. We are so work focused. We are nothing about mental health. We are into productivity, good results, get it done, and we are the ones that took productivity to a different level. But these people, they are waving that flag that says, hey, life work balance is important. And if you want to build sustainability for your business, you actually need to pay attention to this factor. Then, what is stress for an entrepreneur? After all these statistics, I would like to understand and to hear from you on the chat. What is the stress for an entrepreneur now? Oops. Very well. For an entrepreneur, stress can be defined as the emotional, psychological, and physical strain resulting from the unique pressures of running a business. Staffing issues, sales decrease, steady cash flow, isolation, making critical decisions, lack of connection, increasing costs, trying to get that life work balance. Those are stressors. However, I saw that you mentioned already on the chat, there are different types of stressors and different types of stress, right? We have, let's talk about the stressors. We have physical, emotional, and chemical. So physical is basically when we are experiencing trauma, accident, or an injury. Emotional, thoughts or feelings, and chemical, a virus, bacteria, maybe some hormonal imbalance that happens. Those are different types of stress. So stress is not only getting an unexpected bill or an accident or going through work, things that are externally. Also, things that are happening in us internally will cause huge stress on us. Now, types of stress. We have acute stress. This one is brief and specific, right? So we have, let's say, the resignation letter of a star employee, a high-performing one. Boom, that's an acute stress. Chronic stress, that long-term, ongoing, regular, that usually comes with psychological trauma as well. So you can tell that sciatica picture there. Yeah, that's the type of pain that it causes us. Episodic acute. This one is rampant. So this one comes and goes, right, with peaks. So it's a way of life. It's short term, but it is frequent. So yeah, I'm okay today, but I know that my marriage is in crisis. So that is giving me those peaks. That's stressful, and that's the type of episodic acute. And finally, eustress. I remember that Lindsay and some other participants, they were mentioning the good type of stress that gets us motivated. Are those, I would say, rushes of adrenaline, right? That makes things fun, exciting, engaging, but it can also take a toll. So now that we have understand types of stress and the stressors, I would like to see the common physiological signs of stress, the most common. So I will go just with the left one, and you can take a look of all of them later. So changes in mood, clumsy or sweaty palms. Who gets that? Decreased sex drive, diarrhea, difficulty sleeping, digestive problems, dizziness, feeling anxious, frequent sickness, grinding teeth, headaches, low energy, muscle tension, racing heartbeat, trembling, among others. Now, common sources of stress for entrepreneurs in Alberta. This comes from statistics, funding, or financial stress, sales and revenue decline, increasing costs, inflation. Work-life balance, again. Fourth, staffing and absenteeism. Networking, maintaining a steady cash flow, among others. Now let's see this stress influence situation is in business. We think that stress only will affect you, but let's think that your business is a mirror of your personal life. So what's going in your life will also be impacting your business. So some stress influence situations would be collaboration affected by fear, low productivity, ineffective decision making, bias and emotional decisions, poor and disrupted communications, hostile workplace culture, worn out morale, exhausted employees, high employee turnover, unsatisfied clientele, disengaged stakeholders, and even bankruptcy. Situations in business. This is how your business experiences stress. Now, remember that you're not just a business owner and your team. They are not just your employees. They are human beings. You are a human being. Therefore, there's going to be a stress influence conditions and situations on you guys, basically on entrepreneurs. Increased cholesterol, increased triglycerides, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, digestive problems, weight gain, depression, anxiety, divorce, broken relationships, even isolation, addictions, and other mental issues, bankruptcy, personal one here, and finally, and very, very sadly, violence and criminality also pick up by stress. I guess that you are going through this list and are saying, oh my goodness. Maybe, hopefully, you are not experiencing any of this, but these are stress influence conditions. So now I'd love to hear, where does stress happen? Where do you think stress happens? In your body, in your brain, all around you, in your life, to you? I don't know, but it seems like I cannot see your chat box now. Alrighty. So most relevant neurotransmitters for entrepreneurs. Why I want to tell you about this? Because stress is happening in your brain. It comes from your emotions and goes to your brain. So it triggers some situations. And why this happens? Because in our brain, we have this biochemical cocktail that drives us through life, right? So we have the 8 most relevant hormones or neurotransmitters for entrepreneurs. So we need to pay a huge attention to this. Cortisol, that is usually or commonly known as the stress hormone. I'm going to tell you the function, the feelings it triggers, and also what happens when it's imbalanced and when we have these alarming signs, okay? So function for cortisol, it regulates metabolism, immune response, and the stress management. The feelings that it will trigger are alertness, stress, and anxiety. Imbalance cortisol allows the proper management of stress, allergies, immune system, and optimal metabolism. But what happens when we have low levels of cortisol? We feel fatigue, and we feel also very low resilience. What happens when we have high levels of cortisol? Impaired cognitive function. Listen up. Impaired cognitive function. So we are not learning properly. We are not thinking properly. Increased blood pressure, and it also leads to weight gain. Dopamine. The function will be reward, motivation, pleasure, and motor function. Okay. The feelings, pleasure and reward. Dopamine. This is so important to feel motivated, willing to do things, focused. So dopamine is that hormone that we want in our lives, right? And when we experience low levels of dopamine, we can feel depression or demotivation. Remember that, Sean, I think it was you that said, yeah, I feel demotivated. That means that when you're stressed, you're feeling low in dopamine. Serotonin. Serotonin regulates mood, appetite, and sleep. So important to recharge, right? So, feelings, well being, and happiness. Yes, when we are well rested, we're in good mood and we can eat, we can have even good appetite. But what happens when we don't rest and when we're exhausted? When it is imbalanced, it will allow or give us stability and contentment. But when it runs lows, we'll experience depression, anxiety, and also insomnia, of course. Adrenaline. Adrenaline triggers body's flight or fight response, right? Some of us, we unfortunately get used to run on that mode, but it's not sustainable for the long term. It is not. It is actually super toxical, and we can get into a toxic, I would say, range of routines if we get used to adrenaline. So the feelings would be rush of energy, strength, speed, and heightened alertness. Imbalance, it will enhance performance in the short term, right? So adrenaline will be that push that we need in a car accident, or when one of our children are in danger, and we see them falling, we just run and have that extraordinary strength to put them back, and at the same time to support the other child on the other, and to do something with our leg. That's moved by adrenaline. Uh, but in the long term, it will create anxiety, heart problems, and sleep disturbances. Oxytocin, the love hormone. This one is useful on actually triggers and contributes to social bonding, sexual reproduction, childbirth, and post-childbirth to create trust, empathy, and relationship building. So, of course, as entrepreneurs, we need to take care of oxytocin, right? The feelings, we feel love, trust, and social connection. We cannot run low of oxytocin. Imbalance, it will allow us to create bonding moments, bonding connections, manage stress, and also positive social interactions. But when we are running low of oxytocin, we can feel loneliness. Loneliness is the new epidemic in the world. Low self-confidence and difficult relationships. Testosterone. Testosterone influences mood and energy levels. Testosterone is extremely important for women and for men, not just for men, for women and men. So we need to get it to get it measured, to be tested in order to make sure that everything is okay biochemically. Key for muscle mass, bone density, and sex drive. Confidence. See this. The feelings that testosterone triggers are confidence, motivation, and aggressivity, of course, at the very high levels, right? A competitiveness and risk taking. These are two traits for an entrepreneur: competitiveness and risk taking. We are risk takers. And we are competitive, of course, because we are fighting for our clients in a loyal, ethical, and responsible way, but we are competing to others. Low levels, fatigue, mood swings, and reduced libido. Insulin regulates blood sugar levels and use of glucose for energy. It doesn't trigger any feelings directly. However, in balance, it will give us a sustained energy and focus. And in high levels, insulin resistance and diabetes, and low levels, hypoglycemia, fatigue, and irritability. So please get your sugar checked. Melatonin, this is important. Why? Because this triggers restful nights, restful sleep, right? Even though it won't trigger any feelings directly, it regulates our functions to sleep, right? Emotional stability and also optimum cognitive function, they are brought when it's in balance. However, when it's low, we can experience sleep disturbances, mood disorders, and poor focus and memory issues. So, in a nutshell, these are the hormones or the neurotransmitters that we need to take care of as entrepreneurs. And these biochemical reactions that are happening here in our brain are having impact in all our body. And when our body is impacted, our mood, our emotions are impacted. And also, when I will say we as a whole are being impacted by these imbalances, we can tell that the rest of our company and our business are at risk. So I'm going to give you 6 strategies here to thrive under pressure. Now we're getting into the practical. So establish routine and structure. This is very, very important. Implement a daily routine that includes set workouts, breaks, and time for personal activities to reduce stress and enhance focus. Practice mental mindfulness. Practice mindfulness and meditation. We're going to do a super quick mindfulness exercise at the very end. So you can see, if you haven't done that, you will see it is not spiritual, but it will give you the awareness to realize that why everything that you need is great, and it's here and it's available for you right here, right now, not tomorrow, not yesterday. So mindfulness and meditation, they engage in regular they will get through they will get you through stress through regular practices such as prayers, yoga, meditation itself, and improve mental clarity and reduce anxiety too. Now, prioritize physical activity. Allocate time for physical exercise to manage heavy workloads and reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety and enhance overall well-being. Sometimes we are so focused on weight loss, for example, that we forget about those exercises that will also nurture our mind and will balance our, put our emotions in balance. So it is important for us to acknowledge what our body, what our mind, what our emotions are telling us. For example, if I've been feeling myself short fused over the last 2 weeks, I need to do something about it. And to do it, I need to be mindful that I am body, I am mind, and I am emotions. So I need to tackle the problem holistically if I want to solve it. Otherwise, I won't be able, if I just go for a HIIT workout, yes, I will feel the energy arose, but probably I won't have the full effect of wellness that a holistic approach to exercise will give me. Develop emotional intelligence. Enhance skills like self-awareness, empathy, and emotional regulation to manage stress, maintain balance, and make objective decisions. Learn from failure. Embrace mistakes. Come on, guys. I think that I have already 6 PhDs in mistakes and getting in trouble. But that is life. We learn from them, right? We learn from them. And if we learn from failure, we'll be able to adopt a growth mindset and view failure as learning opportunities to build resilience. And at the end, you will be just laughing about those mistakes in life because they passed and they brought you to where you are at now. Seek work-life integration. So the whole point is again here. Achieve a balance between work and professional life by setting boundaries, delegating tasks, and taking time off to prevent burnout. So all these strategies will allow you to build that Canadian entrepreneur's mindset. So when we talk about this mindset, we are basically talking about 4 pillars: leadership, mental wellness, flexibility, DEI, and sustainability. So leadership basically is that capacity that you have to create that avant-garde business. That avant-garde business involves innovation, resilience, empathy, productivity, discipline, consistency, commitment, integrity, vision, long-term vision, right? Mental wellness. It's the optimum state of mind that enables not just personal expansion and evolution, but everyone's around. This holistic aspect encompasses self-awareness, mindfulness, focus and discipline, hunger for greatness, as the capacity to create greatness, to recover from setbacks, and also to inspire others. Flexibility is the ability and the speed as well, not just the ability, but also the speed to adapt to change and drive for continuous growth and learning. We are Canadian and we deal with weather. We deal with market. We are in the North Hemisphere. We deal with multiculturality. We deal with politics as any other place in the world and with specific issues from our country, right? We have so many advantages. When I'm saying this, I'm not saying these situations are bad or they are positive. We have the option to take them as positive, or we have the option also to see that, oh, this is all bad. This is all negative. What is your decision today? We can take advantage of any single one of those aspects and make them the platform for our launching best time ever project or business. And DEI and sustainability, Canada's multicultural tapestry demands us to foster an equity-driven and meaningful work environment while driving community impact. Equity is the base to practice diversity, inclusion, and equality. It is equity because through equity, we create policies, procedures, systems, bylaws, constitutions. So we enable diversity, inclusion, and equity through, and equality through equity. So make sure that you are embracing this topic into your organization so you can create that sustainability plan and transition business plan for yourself and for the future of your business and the generations to come. So now I want to get into this particular topic, that is the entrepreneur's burnout syndrome. Some people would say that it doesn't exist, it's just another level of stress. This one sometimes is only particular for entrepreneurs, of course, by its name, but it doesn't happen overnight. It is something that is building in you to the point that sometimes it's unsustainable. So I want to tell you what this is about. Burnout is defined as physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion from prolonged stress and overwork. I guess that these two words are very familiar to you. Unique stressors for entrepreneurs: constant uncertainty, high self expectations. Maybe our worst enemy, right? High self expectations, financial pressures, blurred work-life boundaries, and isolation. Impact on business: decreased productivity, lack of clarity, loss of objectivity, poor decisions, lack of interest in solving issues, procrastination, strained relationships, business future at risk. Impact on personal life: harm relationships, physical health, decreased quality of life. Some signs, I'm going just to focus on it briefly: chronic fatigue, insomnia, sense of failure and defeat, forgetfulness and impaired concentration, increased illness, anxiety, physical symptoms, other like chest pain, heart palpitations, shortness of breath, gastrointestinal pain, loss of appetite, depression, irritability and anger, detachment. Detachment from your business. Would you ever detach from one of your children? Imagine detaching from your business. We see it unnatural, but you know it's happening when you say, oh, I don't care anymore. I'm so exhausted that I don't care anymore. Just do whatever you need to do. How many times have we said that? So strategies to avoid burnout. Set realistic goals. Sometimes we shoot ourselves in the foot. We just say that we are going to make our first million in our first year of business. And because we didn't achieve it, we get frustrated and so let down by own selves that we decide to give up. Entrepreneurship is not about racing for speed. It's consistency, it's about discipline, it's about persistence, it's about coherence. So it's not a short-term race. Time management. For this one, you can use techniques like the Pomodoro technique that will suggest you to set your tasks and allot some short periods of time. Like for example, I'll be checking my emails for 20-25 minutes, and I will switch tasks every 25-30 minutes, whatever the time you decide is good for you, because that will optimize your attention span, right? And will optimize your capacity to create and to get onto new activities and cover many more things in just one day. I am not particularly a big fan of this one because I need longer period of times for the tasks I need to perform. However, this is a good one for short tasks or very mechanical tasks, if you want to call it. And also the Eisenhower box that will suggest you to organize the stuff you need to do on urgent on the X and also important on the Y, right? So you do a couple of categories on everyone. For example, when it's urgent, when it's not urgent, when it's important, and when it's not important. So urgent and important, it's a do. Here we have 4 Ds to unfold this box. Do when it's urgent and important. Decide when it's not urgent, but it is important. We have delegate when it is urgent and it's not important. And you have delete. This is the toughest one. Delete when it's not urgent and not important. So you go through do, decide, delegate, and delete through these metrics that will allow you to move more proactively throughout your day and your tasks. Build a support network as well, of course. This is important. You not just create your team or the best team ever. Also have a board of advisors, mentors, a business coach. And at the same time, you can create a support group by networking, right? Those people that you go to and you just get inspired. You won't get into deep conversations, but you also get a little bit of that energy. Entrepreneurs, we are full of energy. And when we get together, we create great things. So we need to get it done. Practice self-care. We've talked about it. Mindfulness practices. We're going to do a very brief exercise. Some other strategies, regular breaks, take regular breaks. Like for me, for example, I know that after I complete this task, whether it takes me 90 minutes to up to 2 hours, I'm going to take a break. Sometimes I'm working here from home, or some others I'm outside. I go for a walk and I talk to other people. I go to cafeteria and talk to a workmate. It's important. We need to give ourselves breaks because that will be the reset button in our minds to say, yeah, creativity, you can also take a break and then come back with new inputs, with more inputs. Seek professional help, please. Do not make any decision before you have talked to a professional. There's many resources, even with no cost for you if you are seeking for professional help. Just reach out. Learn to delegate. Try to strive for work-life balance and mindful use of technology. There's plenty of resources, technology-wise, that we can leverage on so we improve our mental health. We can do that. Here you will have in our presentation some sources of inspiration, some books that I truly recommend you to read, and they will talk about entrepreneur burnout. They'll talk about mental health, leadership, and also habits that will transform your life. So now I'm going to ask you to trust me on this exercise. We will do a 1-minute mindfulness exercise. It's going to be nice. I promise that it's not going to be spiritual, so you can be at ease on this. I will not try to evangelize you into my beliefs. That's not my business. That's not my role here. And but I would like you to experience this just for 1 minute. So you will see how much you deserve to take care of yourself at the middle of the day, in the middle of the afternoon, or probably before you start your day and when you just wrapped up your day, before doing your journaling, and before being grateful for what you have experienced. So let's do this. Just trust me for 60 seconds. Find a comfortable seat and gently close your eyes. No need for long. This is your moment of peace. You deserve this minute. Let's do it. Inhale slowly to a count of 4. Hold that breath for a count of 2. Then softly exhale over a count of 5. So this. So let's do this breathing pattern 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 5. Again. Inhale. Exhale. Last time. Exhale. As you settle into this rhythm, let your mind drift into the positives in your life. Think of simple joys. A loved one's smile, the crisp air outside, a compliment on a job well done, 5-star review, the energetic buzz of children playing. Let these images warm you and fulfill you with gratitude. Feel this happiness infusing every part of you, your feet, your legs, your torso, your arms and hands, your neck, your head. And now, with full belief, whisper to yourself, here and now, I have everything I need. Let this affirmation echo within you 3 times, feeling its truth. Here and now, I have everything I need. Here and now, I have everything I need. And here and now, I have everything I need. Again, let this affirmation echo within you and feel its truth. When you are ready, bask in this abundance for a moment longer. Then, at your own pace, open your eyes, returning refreshed and centered.
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you so much, Anna Maria, for sharing that important, beautiful presentation with us. Here and now, I have everything I need are such powerful words. I know I reflected quite heavily on that, and I hope everyone in attendance here had the chance to as well today. You shared a lot of really impactful key tips and messages with us today. I had a couple key takeaways. One of them was right at the beginning where you shared the statistics and the relationship between stress and financial pressure. Obviously, it's the banker in me speaking, but that really hits home for us. And it just goes to show how far stress can impact your life and your business. And how it's so important to use, your circle of advisors you have kind of around you, including that banker, to have those conversations about the financial side of your business to hopefully mitigate that stress. So that was one big takeaway. And then the second piece was social connection. I work from home. A lot of our team works from home. So, and I know there was a couple of folks in the chat who said that they work in home-based offices. So I'm really glad to see folks have taken the time today to connect with us virtually or in person. And I just encourage you all to really let that statistic sit with you, or that piece of information sit with you, and try and find ways for those social connection opportunities. So yeah, thank you so much. We have a few questions and we have time for a few more. So please continue to throw them in the chat. But yeah, we'll jump right into it. So Jenna asked, sometimes my tasks can seem so overwhelming, I get more stressed by taking time off. What would you suggest as a first step, or one thing I could do to start changing this and integrating more wellness over time?
Thank you so much for your question, Jenna. And this is a very realistic question and situation you are in. We have so many things to do that, of course, we're going to feel guilt that we are, because we're leaving something out in order to take personal time or to enjoy. We've been raised with the idea of, if you have pending stuff, you are not allowed to take time off. However, how we switch that paradigm for us as entrepreneurs? By planning out your week, right? I understand that day by day you are getting more stuff into your tray. However, that is the moment to put in practice the Eisenhower box, for example, right? So you can go through do, decide, delegate, or delete on your tasks. And after doing that, what is important and it's urgent, obviously it's going to be done for you. But what it's important, right? It's not it's important, but it's urgent, and it's not so urgent at the same time. You can always delegate, right? If it's not important, I mean, it's not time pressing, you can always delegate. However, if you're a solopreneur, you will need to plan these activities according and realistically to their time sensitivity. Realistically, sometimes we think that we need to get done every single day, right? Like everything done today. But if we see the to-do list at the end of the day, it has increased instead of being being less, right? And being shortened. So we need to stay realistic to our goals. You need to plan. I will suggest you to plan out your weeks. Let's say the weekend before, you already create a schedule. You allocate time for the activities that are strategic for you. Remember, urgent and important. The rest, you can give them the right timeline, basically, and based on the importance and the relevance in your business. There's some activities like bookkeeping, for example, admin work that you can easily plan, and it's not an overnight situation that you need to solve. Usually with clients, it is with the client customer service, things that you need to do on an immediate basis, right? And I will also say that mindfulness and taking breaks for yourself, like 15 minutes, will allow you to reduce the overwhelming feeling for you. It will allow you to focus on yourself and to empower yourself, because you are able to do this. If this is your business and you came up with this great idea to impact your community, that means that you are fully capable of performing the leadership role in your business. Therefore, you have everything it takes to please your clients, to serve your clients, to serve your team, and to impact your community.
Yeah, what a powerful statement. You know, you have come up with this really great idea, and you've been able to stand up this own business. So you have all this power and all this capability within you. I love that you shared that. I want to dig into that a little bit more. So you just shared a really beautiful mindfulness and relaxation exercise with us that lasted about a minute. Can you provide some more examples or resources for small business owners to incorporate into their daily routines? Or even if there's like one low hanging fruit that our participants could walk away with to incorporate that like break of mindfulness, what would that be?
Yeah, mindfulness is something that we need to practice all day long, right? As we become familiar to it, it is normal that we say, "Oh yeah, by the way, I need to do this." So if you're not familiar to it, set a reminder, or mainly set it into your routines to start your day and to wrap up your day. So at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, let's do that. So if you just take this 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 16 minutes time, right? If you just take this time to focus on yourself and to allow yourself to contemplate everything that you have created already, everything that you have, and everything that you are, that's a lot. And you will realize how abundant is your life and how much you have to embrace, so you are empowered. Because you will come to the realization that, yeah, I have everything. And if this idea came out of this mind, it's because I can do it. I have everything it takes. So that is I would say the wonder, or the magic effect of mindfulness, that it would take you from a place of doubt, scarcity, and fear onto your own reality and personal empowerment. So by early in the morning, late before you go to sleep, right? Also, if you can do it at noon, 1 minute, as we just did, right? At noon, after lunch or before lunch. It's always better without, with empty stomach. Why? Because you'll be focusing on the meditation instead of that. Sometimes even if you have a tough day, I don't know, you'll get upset stomach after eating. No, just just relax. Take your time for yourself and then enjoy your lunch. Give yourself those 30 minutes that will make a huge difference on how the afternoon will unfold for you.
Yeah, I heard this really powerful thing once around like we all have these kicking around, these phones that are so close to us all the time. And when our phone dies, we plug it in, we recharge the battery. But I don't think the same can be often said for ourselves. When our battery dies, we don't necessarily always go to plug it in. So those tips are really great in kind of having that mentality of, we need to charge our own batteries from time to time too. So thank you so much.
That's true, Lindsay. And something important that came to my mind when you talk about these devices. When we take time for ourselves, just put your phone away.
Mm.
The world is not gonna crash because we have put our phone away for 3 minutes or for 5 minutes or for 30 minutes. No, your business is gonna be there, your team is gonna be there, issues, problems are gonna be there, and work is gonna be there waiting for you. But your health won't if you don't do it. So we need to do it. And mindfulness, one thing that I was forgetting is that mindfulness also helps you regain that self-confidence. I can do it, and I have all the answers that I need. And when you don't have the answers because you definitely don't know something specific, that mindfulness will give you the courage to seek help. And that's important, not just mental health wise, but financially. As you said, if you wanna have healthy financial statements, talk to your bank, talk to your accountant,
Mm.
create a strategy, and after that, you will see that everything is way easier and more relaxing than just saying, "Oh, my bank, it distresses me so much, and they are calling. I don't know what they're going to say, and I haven't paid." No, you have the answers. You have the power. You do it.
Yeah, no, it's such a good point in kind of building that trusted circle of advisors around you, whether that be for your financial health and your, bookkeeper, your accountant, your banker, anyone related to the financial health of your business. But you also have your mentors and you have the community that you lean on when you have those questions. And then, of course, the mental health professionals that you might rely on for support on that side of your life. So I just wanted to quickly address. There's a question in here. George asked that seek mental health has been mentioned many times, but he's wondering about what the first step or where to go would be for kind of that initial checkup into the mental health side of your wellness. And I know Carrie did share a couple resources in the chat. So the Canadian Mental Health Association has information on mental health. So that link's in the chat. And then the BDC also has a great list of support services specifically for entrepreneur well-being. So we put that in the chat as well. And then last but not least, the Center of Expertise on Mental Health in the Workplace. So that's a canada.ca link. And we'll be sure to include those links in our follow-up email as well. But yeah, I don't know if you have any additional kind of thoughts on that, Anna Maria.
Yes, thank you, Lindsay. Yes, a business coach with a holistic approach will certainly be the person to talk to as well, because this person will have a completely unbiased perception of the business and also about yourself. And we connect them both because we need to realize that as entrepreneurs, our personal life will definitely impact our business, right? Our business life, if we can call it that way, and vice versa. So they are mirroring all the time. And when we are struggling on this side, our business will struggle because if it's not a business financially, it'll be the team. So that's exactly why I mentioned at the beginning that we connect people, purpose, and profit through those different, I would say, interactions that will allow this culture of mental health and collaboration and contribution to grow. But that starts in the business owner because it is that person, the business leader, the one called to develop that lifestyle for himself or herself before expanding it to others.
No, it's just such a good point. And again, dialing into that community of people you build around you, because entrepreneurship and small business ownership, as I'm sure all of you know, can be a very lonely journey. So being sure you have that kind of circle of support around you is so important to kind of help solidify
Exactly.
that. So Anna Maria, I just want to thank you again so much for the wonderful presentation today and all the great actionable advice you gave to our participants. And thank you to everyone in the chat for all your participation today. It's been super fun chatting with you and watching the comments come in. As we wrap up, my colleague Carrie has posted a link to a feedback survey in the chat. So we would really appreciate it if you could take a minute to respond to the survey before you move on with your day, because we'd love to know what you thought about today's session. And remember to keep an eye out for an email within the next couple days where we'll include the recording of today's call, some follow-up materials, and then some information about upcoming events that you might be interested in attending to learn more. So what we have coming up for the rest of April, on April 16th, we have an in-person session here in Calgary that is building on today's topic. It's focused on building resilience, stress, and entrepreneurship. And you can also tune into our virtual live stream option if you can't make it into the Calgary Entrepreneur Center. So that'll be linked in our follow-up email. We also have Mastering Sustainable Cash Flow on April 18th. That's a virtual session. And on April 30th, we have an in-person session in Calgary, which is providing an introduction to market and UX research. So super interesting topic. And that one will also be available via live stream. So if you can't make it into Calgary, we can have you hopefully join us online. And last but not least, please do make sure to subscribe to our Entrepreneur Center newsletter at atbentrepreneurscenter.com. Carrie's also put that link in the chat. It's a really great resource, send out advice, tips, tricks, and you can stay up to date on all of our events and all the stuff that's happening in our team here at ATB. So last but not least, it is a beautiful day outside. I really hope everyone can take 1 or 2 minutes to go outside, take that little rest, that mindfulness break, take in some sunshine, and I really hope you all have a great day. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. My pleasure.